This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to WFO Radio. Joe Castello back with you. And it's 4 o'clock Eastern time, which means we're going to talk a little NHRA drag racing. We got a great show for you. Tim Wilkerson all queued up and ready to go in the green room, getting ready. Going to talk about what he has had a strong car and just got to convert a race win, and it could happen in a couple of weeks up there at the Dodge Nationals in Indy. We're going to speak with Wilk and James Kunkel, scheduled to join us after doubling up at the Topeka Divisional in Super Comp with a Doorslammer. That doesn't happen. That's something that doesn't happen. It is an out-of-the-ordinary experience. James is going to be on the show about 15, 20 minutes or so. Real quick, want to tell you about the people who make it possible. You know, WFO doesn't happen by accident. We've got sponsors, too, like Marvin Rodak and Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com, hot sauces and spice rub coffee. If you want a special blend of coffee for you or your business, he can do it and make it possible. Think of all the amazing possibilities with that. Give him a call, 817-924-6821. Also, Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. TotalSeal.com, from stock eliminator all the way up to Formula One. They fit the rings. If you're building an engine, check out Total Seal. And you know, we're always talking about the podcasts, right? We got a huge one up there, a great one, a legend, Ed Pink. Let me make that bigger. Ed Pink, the old master, talking about his stories and his different engine build projects and designs and all kinds of amazing things. Check him out, TotalSeal.com. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure at FrankHawley.com. Frank and Lana Hawley making this show happen. And they are out there all across the country. Saw some photos on their social media, Bandamere Speedway, etc., and so on. Check them out because they have got courses going on as we speak. And they're smaller class sizes. They are doing the right thing, making it happen. And then finally, samtech.edu, where the next generation of engine builders, and I don't know, will the next Tim Wilkerson come out of Samtech or not? That is the question, but you get a good education, you get placed, you get set up. It's all there. Samtech.edu. All right, let's dial in with the man, Wilk's Warriors. If you're a Wilk Warrior, you need to share this so we can all hear from Wilk and hear what the plan is. And here he is, Mr. Tim Wilkerson. Wilk, how are you?
Hey, man, trying to get my Wi-Fi to cooperate.
Oh, yeah? Well, you know, that is the problem with this, but we've already cleared the first hurdle. We've seen that you had the intention of being on the show. That's really all that matters to me. It's like we've got evidence that you wanted to be on. How are you doing? What are you up to?
Just working on my junk, man, trying to get it all in a pile, get ready for the next race.
Now, earlier I was speaking with you, and you were literally working on your junk. What were you working on? What was going on over there?
Fighting my clutch grinder. It's that thing's like sitting in your car waiting for an oil down to be cleaned up. You know, it's going to be 5 minutes and then it's 25.
Oh, there it is.
That's the way it is working on that thing. It drives you crazy.
You were like Scotty on the Enterprise, you know, like you had no, it wasn't like that. I'll take that back. You ever see the movie Christmas Story where the guy goes down the cellar to fight against the furnace? That's what it kind of looked like. You were in warrior mode.
I was aggravating. I was frick-fracking like he did too down there in the basement.
All right. So thank you for making the time. I know you got a lot going on. We spoke with, it's interesting because we've spoken with most of Team Wilkerson over the past 4 or 5 weeks. Spoke with Daniel when he broke the news that he was going to be driving the car at the first race.
Yep.
Spoke with Chad Green before and after he ran his race. And now we're speaking with you. I've heard their perspective about the program and what's going on. Seen your car go down the track many times, consistently, quick, like you found the next gear. Let's hear from you. Where are you at with this program?
Well, I mean, I think our car runs really well. Chad's, we were still fighting some bugaboos with, and I think some of it, you know, is just him learning how to drive it again, you know, normal deal. I thought we had it kind of close, but we're still trying our best, and Chad's learning. He knows he is. So, but it'll be a great time whenever we get it all straightened out. And I mean, it's the same exact car as mine. It was a car that I ended up last year. The last run I made in that car, I think I went 489 or something, or 389. So it's a good car. We were just doing something wrong over there.
Now, we did just receive some, I would call it negative news, but it's just news, right? Nowadays, is it positive? Is it negative? What is it? It's just news that the Menards NHRA Heartland Nationals presented by Minties has been postponed until the fall. Obviously, reasons related to the pandemic. It is unfortunate because we were all stoked to go. Everybody's stoked to go. But such is life, right? This is a challenge. It's been a challenge for everyone. And the good news is we have Lucas Oil Raceway. Not that they're going to move it there. That's not what I'm saying. But at least we got this next race, the Dodge Nationals, in a couple of weeks. So we're getting some of the schedule in where we can and while we can.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get a Ford in the winner's circle at the Dodge Nationals, though. That's the problem with that deal. We don't need all them Mopars winning these races. So hopefully we can, Bob Tasker and I can get our Mustang in there and mix it up a little bit with those guys. We both got good running cars. We just have to, we got to be in the right place at the right time. So, but yeah, we're excited about going back to Indy. Hopefully we can get away from there, though, in the next couple of weeks, because if I want to go bracket racing, I can go to my local one.
I get it. No, I get it. But if it's this or nothing, I take this. But I want normalcy. I want to get back to the world that I know. First of all, I get to go to the track and see everybody. And we have fans, and the fans are feeling good. And the farthest thing from our minds is like our cares and our worries, as opposed to now. That having all been said, looks like the car is performing. You mentioned the Mustangs. It was great to see Bob back out there. And, that new Mustang body. There was I know they went through a little learning curve with it. What about you? Balance is off. It's a better piece. So how did that factor into your tune-up?
Well, I had a lot of problems with it in the beginning, and I had it on and off there probably 5 times during the year last year, and I think I was aggravating Ford a little bit because I kept going on and off of it. But I did finally figure out that it wasn't the body, that I had other issues, and I was really happy to figure that out in reality, because it is a lot better deal. Mike Neff and those guys, they made some changes to it over the winter, and I don't really know exactly what they did yet. I haven't been privy to that information yet, but what they did last year in the fall, that got conveyed to me, and I think it worked a lot better. The cars, it's really stuck well. So we're tickled to be involved with Ford, no doubt about that. We need them, and hopefully we're going to do a good job for them and keep them on our side as well as Bob. So, but yeah, we need to get away from Indy, though. We need to get away from there. That's a great place to go, but like you said, we got fans all over the country. We don't need to be going to the same racetrack every weekend, because our fans are missing us. I've talked to people from all over the country all the time. They're always texting me and emailing me and that kind of thing, and they're always like, "Man, you need to get to Denver. You need to get to Seattle. You need to get to Dallas. You need to get to Bristol. And so we need to figure out a way to get that done. So, because we are such a fan-based sport. I mean, but through the years, our fans have not left us. All the sports have changed here and there, and NASCAR fans are going away, and ours have not left us. We're just such a in-person sport, in my opinion, that we need to be there.
Well, it is the case. And things like this that we're doing, certainly that NHRA is doing to try to bring you into their homes. Like I said a minute ago, if you're a Wilkerson fan, this is your chance, right? Like your chance to hear from Tim, and you do have the amazing fan base, and been through some tough times, though, like the downtime, and you seem to have fought your way through it. Got to the semifinals at the first race, the E3 race, and then the Lucas Oil Nationals. You qualified third, but got second round. Let me ask straightforward, like, what's the trip up, right? In that you found a lot, especially during qualifying in this very tricky qualifying era of just 2 runs. What's the next portion of the formula that's going to put you over the top?
I don't know. I think we're doing okay. It's again, like I said, it's a be in the right place at the right time kind of sport. We all know that. And those DSR cars are tough, and that's it's going to be Bob and I in those DSR cars in the finals every weekend. I'm afraid we got to keep them guys from getting past us in the second and third round, so we could get that done. And then the DHL car, it's going to be there too. And now you got Paul Lee thrown in the mix too. He's got a good car. It's really going to get dicey here if things keep rolling in the direction that they're rolling. But I'm glad to have a lot of competitive cars, because I'll say this out loud and people don't want to hear it, but I miss John Force's cars. I mean, he's the icon of our sport. We got to get that clown back here, man. We love that guy.
Have you leaned on him personally? Have you influenced him with pressure?
I get his point. I mean, I'm almost there. You can't that's what I mean. We can't go to the same track every weekend. I love Indy and I like going there, but it's not what our sponsors are about. It's not what our sport's about. It's not what I'm about. So I hope that, we get to the U.S. Nationals and we find someplace else to race. I really do. So, I mean, I don't mind going to Indy. I get it, but that didn't do my sponsor what I'm here for. We're here to have hospitality, and we're here to, invite his guests in. And when hospitality's, for lack of better terms, violated because of the COVID, we understand that. And so does he. He's a great sponsor and he gets it. I mean, he understands why we can't have 150 people in our pit area. So we've kind of adopted a policy of how many people we can have there. But he's looking forward to going other places, and I am too. And I get in each race position. I don't misunderstand the problem. I get it, but
right.
I don't like it.
Yeah, no, it's the impossible situation because there's just so many factors where drag racers are in many ways control freaks, right? Like you want to control everything. And this is the ultimate. We're not in control and there's nothing we can do. No. So it's very frustrating.
Yeah, no, it's awful. And, and we got to keep people healthy too, at the same time. I mean, this is a bad issue and we got to figure out a way to keep them healthy. We're all wearing our masks and trying not to be a part of the problem. We're trying to be a part of the solution. And I'm pretty proud of NHRA for that, to tell you the truth. But we just got to get more fans in the stands and we got to get to different venues.
I agree. All right. So we've got some fans out there. We're watching this on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter, etc. Like Eric, for instance, just says, go Ford, go Wilkerson, go Tasca, go Joe at the races. He's a positive NHRA fan, the one that you're speaking of.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about our sport that I love more than anything. I've told you that before, is our fans are, through the years, all the ups and downs of the economy and anything that happened, we always seem to have the greatest fans in the world. And because we just put on the neatest show, we're so touchy feely, you can stand there and get nitro in your face and warm up and you can feel the thing rumble. And I mean, I tell everybody that comes to the race, they'll come back and, like we have LRS invites hundreds of guests a year to St. Louis, and I have them all stop by my shop in the next weeks to come after that. And they'll say, God, we never realized how neat that was. You go by and the whole tent shakes and the ground rumbles. And like last year, I blew up in front of them in Q4, right in front of the tent. And boy, I had lots of people who were like, we felt that in the tent. I don't know how the hell you come out of that. So it was kind of a neat deal. But that's really the one thing that I really miss is the fans. It's just, I feel like, I heard LeBron James say this about 6 months ago. I'm not playing basketball without the fans. And I thought, well, you rich, arrogant. And then I thought afterwards, I think, I don't blame me. Sucks without the fans. So, I mean, I like racing all the cars, but without people there cheering for you, it's not the same.
People are the energy. Like we think about the nitromethane as the energy, but it's not. It's the cheer of the crowd, the roar of the crowd. Like Force always says, those are the people coming around yelling at you, telling you, motivating you, getting you on the back. Like that's our sport.
Yeah.
But hey,
that's what I mean. It's. Oh, I'm losing you again.
I got you. You're good. You're doing good, man.
Must have walked in front of the crowd.
Maybe. Joe says that you're a great racer and a great dude, that you were even nice to them because even though they had Beckman shirts on. So that's nice. You were nice to fans with other people's other racers' shirts. He was pretty excited that you were friendly to him, even though he had a Beckman shirt.
Yeah, I caught only about half of what you said, Joe. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. So in the way you're laying it out there, it's going to be beneficial to you to move to another track. But if there is no other track and this is what we can do, like what's the situation with the second car? You're obviously, I'm assuming you're going to run as many races as are scheduled as best as they can, or is that not necessarily the case?
Well, the second car won't leave again until Chad Green wants to go. He owns all that stuff. It's all him. I made a suggestion to him that I didn't want him to go to the races driving both cars, that I wanted him just to drive this car and not have his Pro Mod card even at the race. So he decided that would be a good idea too.
Yeah, although he did make the
you
final
again,
round. He did make the final round. No, we're doing good, Tim. I don't want to keep you for too long. Just a final message to your fans out there. What, I see we got brake jobs in the background. Final message to your fans out there.
Just thank you for bearing with us. I mean, it's as frustrating as you can tell, I'm frustrated. It's as frustrating to us to not see you as it is for you not to be there. Believe it or not, that's my message. Like I said, I am so upside down because I can't look out there and see people screaming and yelling and waving their arms in the air. It doesn't seem like the same cool feeling that you have. I mean, everybody says that to me. Well, you get to drive that car. I've done that for 20 years. I've made 20 years worth of fan friends also. I mean, I literally have people come up to me that are in their 30s and say, in 1999, you played Frisbee with me when I was 8 years old in a motel parking lot. I'm not kidding you. And that to me means more than any win. So I had a chance to influence some little boy or some little girl. And, some of the Racers for Christ kids, I just got a letter from one of them that she's just going into college and she remembers when I was bouncing on my knee. So how fun is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the best, but also really makes me, long for the other world that we used to know. I know we'll get it back. We'll get it back, everybody, but stuff like that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this disease is something we can't figure out. So we'll get her figured out. We got a lot of smart people in the world, and we get a vaccine for this thing and get this thing behind us, and hopefully the world will go back to normal.
There it is. All right, what's it say on your shirt there? Captain City. What kind of shirt does Tim Wilk wear to work?
Capital City Machine.
Wow. There you go.
It is right there. You see what it says?
Yes.
Capital City Machine Shop. I'll show you. I'm in my machine shop office.
All right. Yeah. Give us a tour. And if it craps out, then we'll
all the posters on the wall. Look at the car.
Wow. There you go.
Look at that car. You see that?
Yeah.
Ron,
gosh.
That was the first Napa Fuel Funny car. Ron Capps ain't got nothing on Tim Wilkerson.
You worked the sponsor for him.
Napa and got him in the sport.
That's great. Tim, thank you very much. Really appreciate you and your time.
I did. I'm no problem. I'm glad to see you guys and all your fans out there. Thank you for being fans. And Joe, thank you for helping us keep our sport moving. You're a great guy.
All right. Thank you, Tim. Take care and really appreciate it. Have a good day. There he goes, Tim Wilkerson. And the moving around is always a challenge, right? The moving around. But I feel like it was good. I got enough out of Tim. And that, we did have a couple of other questions like Jeff, like, you're awesome, buddy. Love you, Tim. And that's what people feel about Tim Wilkerson. And if he can bust off a win or two, it would, I think, fundamentally change the sport because his fans would be able to go out to the track puffed up and ready to go. Let's see what Leslie said. Knowing there's only one open weekend between Atlanta and Pomona, which race in NHRA planning on fitting in the first week of November between Vegas and Pomona, are they hoping another track cancels and can attempt to take that weekend out of those programs? So here's what I would say. It's kind of all up in the air right now. And the idea of like that planning, Leslie, and I appreciate it. And I've thought these thoughts, but what I am going to do is say that, we're along for the ride. Now, what is the point of even thinking about it? What is the point of even thinking about it? Because whatever we think may end up also no longer being true based on facts on the ground at that point. Races that are scheduled may not be scheduled. Races that are not scheduled may be scheduled. Who knows what possible creative solutions are being gamed up right now. We just don't know. And to expect an answer with any kind of specificity at all at any time is not possible. And so that's where I've let go of it. I've let go. And it's a challenge. It's really hard. Now, James Kunkel is scheduled to be on the show, Super Comp winner out there at the Division 5 back-to-back points race in Topeka, Kansas. And he's scheduled to be connected right about now. Now, there's a couple of things that may have happened. Number one, he may be having a technical difficulty. Now, we seem to be dialed in pretty well today, but he may be having a technical difficulty. And so if you're logged on to see James Kunkel, Super Comp Doorslammer King, The other possibility is he's Central Time and I'm East Coast Time. And as much as I write the letters ET in every single post that I put out, it's always possible that he did not get the word that ET means Eastern Time. Perhaps I need to start saying like Eastern Time as opposed to ET. That could be possible. And if for some reason James is unable to join us on the show here today, then we will dive in another day. That would be a bummer, though. Now, in the meantime, for those of you out there, if you've got questions or subjects you want to discuss, like Leslie did, I'm willing to entertain them as we try to reach out to James and see what goes on. Now, what's cool about what James did? We can definitely dive into that. And I will tell you that I'm a Doorslammer guy. I have driven dragsters. I got my 7-second ET slip in a dragster that I bought and that I owned, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. The track that I raced at in the time of my life meant I only had it for a short amount of time, but I like the dragster experience. But I'm a Doorslammer guy. And the idea of super comp, a class that is, let's call it 98% dragsters, Doorslammers, they don't stand a chance. Now, it's not because those racers are less good or any of that, but there are factors that are against them. So for James to go out to this divisional race in Topeka with a new combination, which I guarantee was part of his success, doing the reverse throttle stop, Tim Nicholson does it. Of course, Chris Garrettson does it. Whereas you are not slowing your car down to run 890 at the starting line, but you're doing it at the finish line, but you're trying to run that 890. And I know a lot of our fans of Nitro don't really understand the throttle stop categories. In fact, when I sit in the grandstands or when I'm on the mic at an NHRA national event, I hear people talk about they just don't get throttle stop racing. Let me assure you, it requires a great amount of skill. It is very challenging. It is very hard to put a car on a number like that and take the win line, let alone 15 straight rounds. And so James was able to win back-to-back races. He walked out of the race undefeated with his 93 Lumina Doorslammer. Now, why do the Doorslammers have such a great challenge against the dragsters in Super Comp? There's a couple of reasons. The first reason is just a numbers game. If there's 100 cars entered, maybe not 98, but I bet you 95 are dragsters. So it's just a numbers game, number one. Number two, those dragsters are designed, clean sheet of paper, to do what they do. Whereas the Doorslammer was designed to go to the grocery store. Like, you think about this 93 Lumina that he has. Like, what was that? You think about, NASCAR and Earnhardt, and it was a front-wheel drive car, and it replaced the Monte Carlo and the Lumina, and, not that the Lumina was the coolest car ever made, but it was not designed to go down a drag strip. It was designed to go to the grocery store, to bring the kids to school, to cruise around, carry luggage, go on a vacation, that kind of stuff. Whereas the dragsters are designed to do exactly what they do. And the difference in wheelbase and all of these factors, they make a difference. And so in a normal conventional race, Doorslammers have a great challenge. Now, for many years, I can't think of the last time a super comp category to national event was won by a Doorslammer. That's why this is such a big deal. And so, James, we're going to try to get him on the show. Let's see what people have to say out there. Let's see. Monica weighing in. My internet cut out and you missed Tim. It's too bad, Monica, because Tim said some of the greatest things he's ever said. I think it's probably the greatest single interview that has ever happened on WFO. It's a bummer that you missed it. Let's see what Jeff says. You're awesome, Tim. Love you, buddy. I think we saw that one already. Race them all at Indy. So much chaos going on. On that point, my latest National Dragster column, which you guys should probably getting in your box as we speak, the one with Matt Hagan on the cover. I say exactly that. Nothing is optimal right now. This is not an optimal situation. Nobody gets what they want right now. Nobody is getting what they want. Nobody has got the life that they choose right now, whether it be the wearing of the WFO radio mask wherever you go, which hopefully Nitrofish Racing is going to have these available again real soon. And they were very popular. And I just watched a study about masks, and the fact that it is double layered is very good, all things considered. You know what? Unkefer is out there. Unkefer Unkefer calls me. Here he is. Look at this. Unkefer calls me and gives me this great update on all kinds of stuff that James did. And it was so nice. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. Pretty soon we're going to have you on the show. In fact, if you want to get into position, I'll bring you on right now and we'll get that going. Unc needs to be on. Someone needs to be on to talk about James Kunkel, and maybe we kill enough time so he is able to get in or understand exactly what is going on, because who knows? So now I got to go. Let's see. It's a 950 bracket race. It's different than a bracket race. I'm all for maximum speed in the 90 categories. Yes, but when everybody is going maximum speed, then it becomes a race of between 5 and 25 miles per hour. Like if we're both going 190, when we go down there, we're going at the same speed. It's pretty much static. So what James is doing is slowing down to 125 miles per hour. And next thing you know, he is able to cause what I would call confusion. And that person who has the big speed is then kind of unable to judge what's going on. And I think that has been why Tim Nicholson and others have been able to be successful. Unkefer, you can check your message on Facebook and we'll get you on there. Let's see. Supercom, most boring class in drag racing, all cookie cutter dragsters. Well, another reason why a Doorslammer winning is such a big deal. And I don't disagree. Certainly the hardest to get people interested in. Chris Gerritsen, another reverse throttle stopper. I'm telling you, he thinks he's nobody realizes that there are other time zones. That's what it is. And when you're on the East Coast, you kind of have to know there are other time zones because they all come after you. Whereas when you're in your other time zone, it's like you're just focused on it. Let's see. One door car, last 3 mile highs. Everybody's waiting on Kunkel. Kunkel. Certainly love it. Now, me, I'm a super street guy because that's what my car will do. And it's heavy. Now, I love the 1090 cars because you can get out there in their cars. I like variety. You'll see an Anglia. You'll see a 55 Chevy. You'll see a 78 Trans Am. Of course, a whole bunch of Camaros. El Camino, whatever someone can put together and race. Super comp, but the competition is just vicious in super comp. Simple as that. Try backing into me with 40 plus. Yeah, well, exactly. And nobody does that. You just set it and forget it. Here comes Unc. Let's see what he's got to say. Right? Getting ready. He called the action out there this past weekend at Topeka. Is a home track. Bob Unkefer, who is pinch hitting for James Kunkel. So, hey, Bob, they're going to hate you because you're not James, but I love you because you're somebody.
No, I'm definitely not James Kunkel. I proved that in the Stocker this weekend. But hey, I'm sorry, Kunkel.
I need you to time. Everybody must also know that Bob Unkefer here, making his first WFO radio appearance, has completed the official track announcer's dream by being a track announcer who also randomly entered an NHRA national event and won it. That is a great story that he has had under his resume. Ran a national event and won it. So, all right, tell us about the day, Bob. What happened out there, and how's this guy able to go out there and beat Gary Stinnett in the final round first day and Terry Pollard in the final round the second day?
He did it he did it by A, driving the starting line, and B, having the car set up for the finish line. On the runs that he missed the tree, the car was killer. On the runs where the car maybe wasn't killer, he killed the tree. And he just kept doing it. And it was fun to watch. It was exciting to call. And having known James and his dad, Gary, over the years, couldn't have been happier for him. Seriously, could not have been happier for him.
Kevin McKenna's got a great story, the sports report on NHRA.com, which after I got your phone call, I guess you saw we were going to have him on. Reinhardt mentioned it yesterday. I reached out to James, put up the artwork that James was going to be on. You saw and decided to call me, and then we had this great conversation. And then, of course, K-Mac's article, which just goes to show you what people really care about, right? Like when something out of the ordinary and unusual happens, It doesn't have to be in a nitro class. It can be in any class and people recognize it. But what I found to be surprising, and I didn't know this until K-Mac's story, was this is the first weekend on the setup for this guy. Like, think about that. And it makes sense because there hasn't been a lot of racing. So people must have been a little surprised to get that reverse throttle stoppage out of nowhere. All of a sudden, there he goes. And what's the problem? Is his throttle stop not working? Oh, no, he's one of those guys. And suddenly you're on the spot.
Well, he comes from the territory of Tim Nicholson. You talked about Tim a while ago, and Chris Gerritsen and some of the others that do the reverse throttle stop. But I'm sure Tim was a mentor in getting that all set up. And we all know how successful Tim's been with it in his Camaro. I mean, he takes super gas on, super street guys on with a small block and a stick, and does it with the reverse throttle stop. And, all of a sudden, here's Kunkel doing it in the Lumina, the same thing, only at the 890 level instead of the 990 or the 1090 level. And you're right. You talk about performances on the drag racing circuit, and they don't always have to come from the nitro category. In fact, if a lot of people that are pure nitro fans would step back and take a look at what goes on the sportsman rights and some of the performances that come out of it, some of them are just nigh on to incredible. And Kunkel's run this weekend was just that. Greg Ventura won Vegas several years back in a Super Comp car in a field of over 200 Super Comp cars at the Vegas National. And that was a moment that stood out in his mind and in his time. And it's one of the great performances of a door car in a field full of Super Comp dragsters. And Kunkel did it again this weekend. And I talked to Greg about it. Greg said, it was great. And the fact that he did it once was fantastic. But to turn around and do it again on race number 2, that's the part that's just incredible. I mean, to hammer his way through 16 rounds of eliminations to do it, it's crazy.
When you're on, you're on. So you mentioned a little bit earlier in the comment section, just we were speculating, 130 plus Super Comp cars at Topeka, and there was a Roadster and the Lumina, and that's it. So it's a numbers game. Just like all things being equal, the odds of these two, whatever, out of 130 are very low, and then all the other elements to win back-to-back. It's crazy. It's amazing.
It is. And to think about it, we had 3 back-to-back winners at Topeka this weekend. Doug Ingles in Comp, Justin Jenkins in Superstock, and Kunkel in Super Comp. And I'm not taking anything away from Doug Ingles in Comp, not taking anything away from Justin Jenkins in Superstock, but Kunkel doing it in a door car in a dragster class and going back-to-back. I think that was the highlight of the weekend. It really was.
Well, that's what gets you on WFO, the way I look at it. Like I would love to highlight and feature every racer that wins. Like we all know, like, you won that national event, and that's impossible. That's amazing. Like the regular public that's out there, watching football, baseball, basketball, going to the mall, that kind of stuff. Like you win something. Yeah, you win it. It's hard to win. No, it's hard to win in drag racing. It's hard to get to the track in drag racing. Like, just get your stuff and get to the track. It's a challenge, let alone to win a race and then win twice back to back at the highest levels. It's just insanity. And that's our job. That's what we do.
Over 600, roughly 640 cars at Topeka this weekend. So it was a barn burner of a weekend. It was hot. It was a little humid, but just the sheer number of cars and the racers that were there. I mean, we had some stout fields all the way around.
Any, give me just a round, around the horn on other things that stood out in your mind. I know Doug Gordon was able to get the win. Rachel Meyer runnered up, hometown race, obviously. So, things that stick out in your mind from the back-to-back divisional this past weekend.
Well, and I had the joy or the privilege of doing the divisional and the JEG Sports Nationals the week before Columbus. One of the things that stood out is Robin Samsel. Mike Booker was in his car at Columbus. The car was locked into the high 620s. made it to the final round. Robin Samsel jumped in the car at Topeka. They were running low 630s. He was 630 to 635 on 5 laps, 6 laps down the racetrack. I mean, the car didn't vary 500ths of a second down the racetrack. And Robin was on and pulled out the win at Topeka. That car right now with Robin Samsel in it in alcohol dragster racing, certifiably hot. I mean, back-to-back final rounds, 2 drivers in the car at Columbus, and then Robin back in the car at Topeka. Outstanding performances. Awesome.
And we were just speaking with Wilkerson. I don't know if you saw that. He was obviously a little down, a little bummed. Not that Tim we've come to know and love, because we're all frustrated at the challenge we're all dealing with right now with this situation. When I put on, whatever the live streaming is for wherever I happen to be watching, I'm very proud of what the drag racers are doing. It seems like everybody is doing what they got to do to keep racing. And it's unfortunate, but we want to get back to it. How are you holding up through all that?
Yeah, it's been crazy. I agree. And I commend NHRA for what they're trying to do and just get some national events established. The Lucas Oil races that I've had the opportunity to get out and call. I think the fact that they're races for racers and they don't put a lot of folks in the stands, which to me is unfortunate. But this year it's a benefit because now we've got the ability for the racers in the Lucas Oil Series to be able to race, not have to worry about the crowd content or count there at the Lucas Oil events, and it's allowed the Lucas Oil races to go on. What's the season going to bring? Who the hell knows? But the fact that we've got the Lucas Oil races going on, I think is tremendous, and you're seeing it in the car count. 650 at Columbus, 640, 645 at Topeka. The racers want to race, and they are glad to be out and racing. Let me tell you.
If there's ever a sport that's conducive to social distancing, I think it's racing. An outdoor sport, distance naturally between everybody. I think we can figure it out. All right. Here's what I've decided to do. So I'm guessing that James and I just got our signals crossed on time zone. I think that's what it is. And the good news is we're not using film. We're not using film here, and I can just sign off and fire back up in a little bit when he's ready to go. And if he's not, then maybe something happened. No big deal. We'll work on it next week. But since you are here, let's hear the story of the day you won. Because every announcer dreams of this. I was a bracket racer, track champion a couple of times, 3 different tracks. Like the day that I got an opportunity, man, I would love to think I would rise to the occasion, but the odds are 1,000,000 to 1 against it. But not for Bob Unkefer. You won the race. Tell us the story.
Well, 2008 was the year. Houston was the venue. The O'Reilly Spring Nationals. First round opponent was Brad Floyd. Hold on.
Yeah, no.
First round opponent was Brad Floyd. He had been struggling through the weekend. Friday morning, I was spending the weekend at the Emmons house, Jerry Emmons. Friday morning, we went out to the shop, pulled a distributor and plug wires and assembly out of one of their backup cars. Dropped it off at Brad Floyd's pit Friday morning for him for round number 1. I laughed. I told him, I said, look, I screwed all the plug wires up on the connections. You got to figure them out. He laughed. I laughed. Jerry laughed. But they threw the distributor in, and for whatever reason, the car just didn't run. I honestly expected Brad Floyd to dial a Hun back or whatever I dialed and wheel race me. That's what I expected him to do because I respect him and I know he's that good of a racer. For whatever reason, he didn't put the distributor in. The car still wouldn't run right, and I got through first round. Second round was David Buckner's dad, a 383 Challenger. I don't remember exactly what happened, but got down to the other end and he wasn't there. third round was Greg Hill and the old white Camaro with the yellow flames. Got down to the other end. He wasn't there. Bobby Brandon was, I think, third or fourth round. Justin Hutto, the up-and-coming young man with Mobile One and NGK, his dad was alongside of me for the fifth round, and sixth round was Austin Ford. And I don't know what it was on Sunday, and I have said this before, and I'll say it again. The world on Sunday slowed down. I had fourth, fifth, and sixth rounds to race, and I don't know what it was, but the world slowed down, and everything just it just fell into place. And 00 in the fourth round and 001 in the finals. I remember reading the dragster report. The two best packages the weekend happened in the fourth and the sixth round, and I had them. 001 did 3 in the finals. I remember looking at Terry Emmons as we were going up for the finals, and I said, do we put a 40 on it or a 41? He looked at me and he looked at the sky and he said, if the clouds stay, it's a 40. If the sun breaks out, we're putting a 41 on it. The clouds stayed. It actually sprinkled a couple of drops on me going down track in the final round. But we put a 40 on it. 001 did 2 in the finals. And well, I still got the Wally, and it gets dusted about once a month.
You're a hero. Oh, no, you're a hero, man. That's a announcer story, maybe one of the greatest announcer stories ever. They can make a movie about it. Hey, good news is that you have successfully bridged the gap between Tim Wilkerson and James Kunkel. We've got him. He's ready. He's going to be on the show. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us the insight behind the win. And now we're going to hear from the winner. But thank you very much, Bob. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me on, Joe.
There he goes, Bob Unkefer weighing in. How great was that? How great was that? And all you people out there who gave up on us, who are no longer watching, well, it doesn't matter because we got him. This is it. The Doorslammer, king of Super Comp. He did it. You heard all the amazement. We built the hype for about 20 minutes, and he joins us now, Mr. James Kunkel. James, you did it. You won back-to-back races, and even more importantly, you are now on WFO radio. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Sorry you had to wait.
We did what we had to do, right? Live programming. We filled the time. And like I said last week or something, someone was like, can you fill the time? It's like, that's all we do is fill the time. That's all it is for the viewers out there. They're busy. They're doing their lives. They want a little entertainment. So we just heard from Bob Unkefer. I read the sports report on NHRA.com, Kevin McKenna's version of it. And he certainly did a great interview with you, but a couple of questions first out. Was it in fact your first weekend on the new reverse throttle stop combination?
Well, it worked out pretty well. Yeah, I'd never done it before, but I thought the car would be decent since it ran the 8 really consistent bracket racing. I just had to kill a little more ET down at the end, and I couldn't believe it that it turned out like that.
Oh, we're all proud of you, like Doorslammer guys. Because Super Comp is impossible. It's just impossible. This doesn't happen to win 1, let alone to win 2. So we've had Chris Garrettson in the comment section and Tim Nicholson. Everybody loves his car. So talk about the going against the grain with the reverse throttle stop combination and having the guts to actually do it. I'm sure a lot of people have thought about it, but then ultimately said, I don't want to do it. Garrettson's been top 5 in the world. Nicholson's won national events, top 5 in the world. The decision to go reverse throttle stop, how did you make it?
Well, I had talked to Tim Nicholson about it quite a bit, and I just thought it could work because I run against dragsters all the time, bracket racing. So it really doesn't matter what's over in the other lane. And if it could work down track was the issue. And it ended up working really well. I just had to get enough runs with it to figure out a throttle stop ratio on the other end. I wasn't too worried about what it done to the 8 because I already knew how good the car was. I just short shifted a little bit to put it around the 555 mark at the 8, and I knew what I could do from the 1,000 foot on because I used to run super stock, and sometimes we would try to kill ET qualifying to put us a certain spot on a ladder. So it was kind of a lucky stab in the dark, but to get close on the first one with a 94, and then after that I had to try to figure out a combination on shift time and throttle stop. So.
And you did, obviously. Were you I have a bunch of questions. I really appreciate you hustling to get on, and we've got some people out there, some of your friends and people who thought it was cool. This car, the Lumina, I understand it's relatively new to you. How new is it to you, and what made you jump in on this car? I know you've bracket raced it, but super comp Doorslammers, the odds are low, and yet you dove in. So talk a little bit about the Lumina.
Yeah, I bought it about a year ago. I had a street car that I played with a whole bunch, and I decided it was time to get back into the racing with my own car. I was driving for other people bracket racing, but I needed my own car so I could do my own thing. And so I've been running super gas, but I got chased in super gas. So it really didn't matter to me, the dragster, you know, and in the other lane, I don't care if he's 160 or 190. I'm going to give him the same thing. It just really doesn't matter. So, but it just cut a good light and try to run the number. Stay above 890 was the most important thing.
Yeah. Now, does it take anything? I don't want to say does it take anything away necessarily, because I know it doesn't take anything away, but you're not driving the top end anymore, right? Like it would have to be a really obvious situation, like guy broken on the starting line for you to be doing stuff down there. You're already coasting, so you don't have many moves, so you have to trust your setup. So does that make it more fun? Does it make it less fun? Does it make it less eventful? You got a guy coming up 50 mile per hour on you in some cases, maybe. So what, tell me about that top end experience for the first time in competition, and you go 15 straight rounds. Crazy.
Yeah, that I was worried about myself trying to do something where you kind of really don't drive the top end, because I've always been fairly aggressive finish line driver. I didn't know if I could discipline myself enough to if I did look back and see him, okay, do I want to lift? And you really can't. And like you said, unless they break. And I got to get a mirror in the car so I can look just basically for that, because you can't see out of this car very well. It's not a car you want to get chased in. So if you do, you just got to hopefully be dialed. But it was really neat after I kept going just to come on the stop, and you just kind of look at the finish line and hope your front end looked like it was going to get there first. And then you just look at the wind light and say, come on, wind light, and I just started staring at the wind light, and they'd blow by, and I'd think, did I get there first or did they get there first? You can't really tell, even if it's a 30 or 40 at the finish line.
Yeah,
you can't see it.
So
you're not gonna,
go ahead.
Yeah, you just won't see it. We'd always ask, I talked to the guys in the shutdown area. You think you got there first? Yeah, I think I got there first, but I took too much stripe or something. I'd say, yeah, I couldn't tell, They had a better view of it than me.
The first race you have to go up against one of the greatest of all times, Gary Stinnett, who from time to time actually listens to WFO radio. Who knows? Maybe they're listening in the shop right now as we speak. But tough competition, 4-time champ, one of the greatest of all time. Did you have any conversations before the final and route to the final? Were people coming up to you saying what are you doing? What's going on? How are you doing this? What was the general sensation of people around you as this is all happening, and in particular, Gary, on the first night?
Yeah, Gary and I, we go back a long ways. I've known him for a long time, and he's one of the best there is at this stuff. And, to race him in the final and beat him, I mean, made it even a bigger deal. Yeah, there was a little bit talk in the staging lanes about whether my doors would still be on my car after I ran him. Yeah, I didn't really say much after the comment was made, and but the doors were definitely still on it in the winner's circle. They didn't go nowhere. But it was good running him, and we both wasn't very good on the tree, but it was good enough to get the win.
Wow, that's great. Jerron is on there. We had him on last week showing off some of his amazing paint jobs and everything. That's in the archive, everybody. And he says he's scared of you with his 186 mile per hour charge. You nullify these guys, though. You take away what is one of their strengths. And it's like, you think about in war or in battle or in combat, you're like, well, what is this person's strength? You think about Bill Belichick, who is a football coach. They're going to take away the other team's great strength. And what you are taking away from them is their big speed. It's almost nullified.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't. I mean, whether he's 160 or 190, it does not matter to me. The 190 does not affect what I'm doing any, because I just do my own run in my lane. Basically, I'm a package racer. I'm going to try to make a package that you can't get in. And that's all I do. So, that big mile an hour means absolutely nothing. I mean, really, it don't affect me one bit.
That's great. Okay, so the first night you win the race, you get a Wally. It's super big deal. It's happy. Everybody's happy. Gary's not happy, but he still did okay. But then the second race rolls around, and people get on hot streaks. I've had them. Everyone has them. They go back to back. At this particular race, there were two other racers that won both nights, but not in a Doorslammer and Super Comp, and certainly not using reverse throttle stop. So it sounds like you had, a little something to prove, maybe even to yourself, that the first race wasn't just an accident because of the new setup. And so you got after it again. And what Unc just told us, you were unconscious on the tree, like you were wired in on the second race.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought I did have something to prove on the second race. It was like, yeah, you won the first one. I had some lucky rounds. You always do. It don't matter what race you win. You can look back and go, I should have lost that round or that round. And I really wanted to just say, man, I'd like to win at least first round in the second race, just to win another round. And, I go back to the first race, about third or fourth round, I was talking to people in the staging lanes, and I kind of made the comment, I was playing on house money. Hey, I didn't really figure I'd be there at that time. I wasn't sure how the car would work. Then after I won maybe fourth round, I told somebody, maybe I'm not playing on house money. Maybe I can win this race. So I ended up winning it. And then on Sunday, I get up there and first round, I really want to win. I look over and I see Trevor Larson.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
nice.
Yeah, nice. Look who I get to run first round, and
an easy one.
I got an easy one to try to win here. And we had a pretty good race. He went under. He didn't quite get rid of enough. And I don't know. I really, really told myself I had to be better on the tree in the second race. And I was quite a bit better on the tree, especially the last four rounds. It was right there.
Yeah, like 003, 13, 13, 007, I guess. At least according to dragracecentral.com, a friend of WFO, which is great. But you were definitely dialed in on the tree. And when you put those two things together, it makes it very tough, like takes away all their moves. And so the win light comes on in the second race on your Facebook page. You got a great video. I don't know which day it is, but your wife going crazy. And just to win back-to-back races in Super Comp, you're looking great in the points. Like this one weekend has, really been a big deal for you.
Yeah, I mean that you can't ask for a better start for sure. And I've always been the type of racer that I like to get out quick. I don't like to try to come back from the last 3 races of the year and have to win 2 out of 3 or something to win the points. I never have liked doing that. So with this start, I don't know. I've got more races planned. This what's going on in the world kind of is going to throw a curveball maybe in on some of the races I want to go to. But we're definitely going to go to a double in Dallas, I hope. And I got Great Bend and Noble, Oklahoma. And I guess there's one in Indy in another week or two. I think there's a double up in Indy, a points race. But I may head up there and then try to get some nationals in there.
Yeah, well, you're planning on it. Like I could already see it. Like there's world championship aspirations here. You're not crazy. Yeah. Already. Heck yeah. Well, I think
we're definitely going to go make some more races.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. The news of the day is that the Heartland Nationals presented by Minties was postponed, which means, not canceled, postponed. They make a big deal out of the difference in those 2 words. And so they're going to try to run later in the year when things calm down. Hopefully they do. And hopefully we can get to that point and we can get back out there. It's unfortunate the National not going to happen. But James, listen, I know that doing interviews and coming on video live streams on WFO, it's like not the thing that most, Lucas Oil Series racers are the most practiced at doing. But I really appreciate your willingness to just dive in and do it. And you were great about that. You're just like, yeah, okay. And coming on here, because this is what this category needs, both of these, throttle stop racing in general, to see some faces, to hear some stories, and realize that it's really hard to do. That's what will make more people pay attention.
Yeah, it kind of threw a little different thing in there for them to look at. It's really funny because I've been in the stands watching Tim Nicholson do his thing, and people just take a liking to it. I mean, they like an underdog.
Yes,
they like to see that, and it just worked out for me. I mean. It ended up working, and I ended up cutting some good lights, and I'm still not sure. You still ask yourself why that happened. I'm glad it did.
Yeah,
and,
don't ask.
It was great. Probably one of the best things I've accomplished. I've won national events, but it wasn't the same thing really. I mean. So
you're 6-0. You're 6-0 in national event final rounds. So you're what they call a money player. In that, if you're 6-0, and that's KMAX stat on NHRA.com, I encourage everybody to go check that one out. But 6-0 in national event final rounds.
Yeah, I never lost a national event final. With a couple of IHRA national event finals, also I won. I don't know why. I try. I tell you, when I get to a final, I'm usually pretty comfortable about what the outcome. I mean, I go up and usually, fortunately, I've made some good runs in final rounds of nationals, and my win lights came on.
Yeah, well, that's a money player. You don't need to be able to explain it. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be able to explain it. You did it. Let's see. Jerron says second best thing after you doubling was you bringing positive attention to Super Comp. And yes, a lot of people, love the category, invest in this class. And there are big personalities in the class. And if only we had enough time to cover them all. And a little moment like this brings attention to Super Comp, and you've done a great thing for all the Super Comp racers who hopefully know that I love and appreciate it and struggle mightily to get others to appreciate it as well, whether it be any of the .90 categories, because that's where, let's face it, the lion's share of our racers are, like all across the country. And just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it isn't cool. Any final thoughts? I know you and your dad very close, grew up racing. Unkefer filled me in. My phone was ringing off the hook when I said that you were going to be on the show. Did a little research. I know you had a spill a couple of years back in a dragster, maybe changed your perspective a little bit. You've been through some stuff as a racer, and you keep coming back, and so you really deserve this.
Well, yeah. Dad got me into this. I used to race. I hung out. I was raised basically in Augusta, Kansas, where Patterson Racing was, and I went to school with Todd Patterson, and so I used to go down to the shop, and just kind of be amazed, at everything going on, and so my dad and I got back into it. I got him back into it, and we raced together until he passed away in 2014. But yeah, I had a bad spill back in 2011 with a dragster. Hit the wall at the 8th mile, and it wasn't good. Caught fire several times, but I survived it, and I don't know. It's in my blood. I can't give it up.
Yeah.
I thought I could, but I can't. I enjoy it too much.
Hopefully days or weekends like the one you had this past weekend is the reason. And it's not just for you. Like Reinhardt, we talk to Reinhardt every Tuesday at 1:00, and conversation, 80% is usually the Mellow Yellow series, but the first thing he wanted to talk about was you, and everybody wants to talk about this. And so, but here's the thing though. Here's the thing. We need to raise the expectations a little bit, because it's been a long time since a Doorslammer has won it all in Super Comp, according to my scoring. I don't recall the last time. Maybe someone mentioned the Mile High Nationals. I don't know. But when we get back to having Super Comp at national events, we need you to get out there, and we need you to do it. Someone's got to do it. We got to win a door car's got to win a Super Comp national event somewhere at some point soon.
Well, I plan on it. I plan on giving it all I got. If we can, I usually run the Denver or the Topeka, the Dallas, the St. Louis. Hopefully we'll get one, maybe the one back in Denver, I hope. Topeka would be great. I'll go to Dallas, St. Louis. I don't know. That's about as far as I usually go. Brainerd, Minnesota's, I've been there, but I don't like going that far. But hey, if I have to, I probably will.
There you go. James, thank you very much. Congratulations on your amazing weekend. Thanks for coming on WFO and hustling a little bit. I know we got our signals crossed in terms of time zone. At least I assume that's what it was. No big deal. We got it in, and that's what it's all about. In fact, I think it worked out better in that we were able to get Bob on before to hype the appearance, and here you are. So thank you very much for what you've done. Really appreciate it. Congrats.
Thank you very much for having me. It was fun. It's better doing it like this than talking in front of a live audience. I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. I agree. No, you did fine. Are you kidding? This is awesome. Great job. All right, James, I hope to see you down the road at one of these events. I'll come over and say hello. And thank you very much for coming on WFO Radio. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
There he goes. James Kunkel, the Doorslammer king of Super Comp, winning back-to-back races. How amazing is that? And thanks to Unkefer for diving on and giving us the background on the deal, which was a bridge to getting James on the show, which, we got our signals crossed, but no big deal. This is what WFO is all about. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Will it be a total disaster, or will it be an amazing thing? Like, who knows? For instance, let's go through some of these comments. If you got a comment for me, post it on the chat section right now. Like Jeff says, march on James. And Jim says, you got to know Gary Pearman. It's an addiction we all suffer from. Yeah, it really is. Thank you, Bob. Really appreciate that. It is. But it's not it's the people, like everyone has said. It's like Tim Wilkerson said at the start of this show. It's the energy of your friends that you get when you go to a common place and you like common things and you see people over and over. I would imagine those deadheads get that same experience when they're following the Grateful Dead all around and you see these guys. Look, it's Lenny. There he is. And you're going to have a good time and a common experience. And it's just an amazing thing about drag racing, and we will get back to where we need to be. We will get back. Barbara, good job, James. I'm trying. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about the Doorslammers. It's No offense to dragsters. I've driven both, but I'm a Doorslammer guy because of my love with the automobile and the unique nature of each car, whatever it is. Shoebox Chevy, Chevelle Mustang, like the Gasser Cammer that Reinhardt talked about. Speaking of which, if you watch that WFO radio show, I added a link from Hot Rod Magazine about the Cammer racing engine. And just, I know some history, but then to dig in deep and realize exactly what they've got there is just insane. So go back and check out the Reinhardt show. And what's amazing is that Ed Pink, who is this episode's guest on Hidden Horsepower presented by Total Seal, a perfect example that Ford, gave him one, and he was able to sort out some of the early issues with the Cammer by adding chromoly links to the chain and many other things. But it's just an honor to do the show and to be able to dive into this history and all of that. Now, we do have sponsors and cool things. Like, for instance, if you want a WFO Radio t-shirt, go to nitrofishracing.com and use the promo code on your screen, WFO20. Is the promo code. And what that's going to do is give you 20% off whatever you get there. Thanks to Randy Lynn Shipp and Bo Butner, who are just huge supporters of WFO Radio. Now, what are you going to buy? That's up to you. But I highly recommend the WFO Radio t-shirt. 10-year anniversary of WFO. That way you can rock the t-shirt and show everybody that there is a podcast that they should be listening to called WFO Radio. And they're soon going to have these WFO Radio masks, which are double ply. I just watched a special on various news channels where they talk about how like one layer is okay, and the more layers, the better. And this is 2-layer, and you can even fit a filter in this nice little pocket here and be as safe as you want to be. Very important if we're going to get back to racing again. Also, if you'd like something for free, those of you who want something for free, I'll just send it to you, free. But you have to send me a self-addressed stamped envelope to P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. And then I'll put in, quite a few of these WFO radio stickers for you to put in legal and accepted approved locations, like your toolbox, your race car, wherever you want. You can put them there. Once again, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida. Big thanks to the people who make it possible, like Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, their Dragster Adventure program, Super Comp, Super Gas licensing, even alcohol funny car licensing. They can do that. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. We've got Factory Stock Podcast, and I did see a comment. Let me dig that one back up. I did see a comment about Factory Stock Showdown, and I really think that we cover the category very much in depth. And there was a rules change yesterday, and they have altered once again. They've altered the combination with the Cobra Jets after, Chris Holbrook ran 176 mile per hour out there at that first race, and it appeared that they had the field covered pretty considerably with their 4-valve per cylinder combination. Just read some recognizable Ford Factory Stock Showdown people just walked away from the NHRA for the rest of the season. And the answer is maybe, but we don't know. And that's a story we'll be tracking on Factory Stock Podcast. I've already got some phone calls into the rules makers. They changed upper and lower pulley. They're really decreasing the boost. RPM numbers are radical, sky high. It's a different kind of engine. And it's just unfortunate. I do have opinions. What do I know? But man, if I could go in the time machine, or like Rick and Morty, go through another dimension back to a certain spot, I would go back to prior to the 327, and when they had the 302, like we had achieved parity. And it's just it's a shame that we have lost parity, at least at the moment. But I do have faith in the rules makers that they will work hard to do the right thing, or at least try. But I also understand that if I was a Ford team, man, there's so much work that goes into it. And the idea that they're not going to do the work, that's not drag racer mentality. They're going to do the work. They're always going to do the work. Let's see. Daniel Wilkerson says, Tim feels bad. His internet crapped out. He wanted to end on a more positive note, I think. Still a good show, though. Nice work, Joe. Too bad my dad blew it. Says Daniel. Daniel, how dare you say that about your father? That is terrible. Daniel Wilkerson is a friend of the show, and Tim is a friend of the show. And in no way am I going to hold anybody responsible for the internet being slightly unstable. In fact, I think it's a miracle. It's as good as it is. All right, what's going on tomorrow? As of now, nothing. But Friday, the return of happy hour. Friday, 4 p.m., there is no drag racing, at least national event drag racing this weekend. And so we've got Courtney Enders, Jason Logan, and others going to join us for beverages, 4 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. And we're going to do a happy hour show because I got yelled at. The return, the much celebrated return of the happy hour show is happening this Friday. Still have the old WFO radio stickers. When people send me a self-addressed stamped envelope with 2 stamps on it, I typically stick 4 of these, 2 of the classics, and something else that I have sitting around, whatever it happens to be, like a sticker of some sort from my vast collection of things, of junk, that you get something, which is great. So when you send a self-addressed stamped envelope, you get, hopefully you feel value in what you've got. We encourage you to follow on Instagram and on Twitter, WFO Joe. I really appreciate that because I want to become an influencer eventually where I don't even have to do the show anymore. And I just take a photograph of me holding something and everybody buys it and I get paid. That is the long-term plan. But in the meantime, just follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Do they know you're joking, Joe? Do they know you're joking? Are you joking? This is all an exercise for the podcast. The podcast audience, they've been with us for over 10 years. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. Go to WFOradio.com, our amazing website, to see all the hundreds of places that you can subscribe, depending on where you get your podcast. YouTube, the YouTube channel. Have I mentioned that there's going to be unique to the YouTube channel content and what it's going to be? Yeah. Subscribe, click the bell. Do it. And nitrofishracing.com. Remember that promo code. Great stuff. Other people helping us out, Steve Brenwald Media, graphic artist, like for you racers out there, your websites, your web pages, your Facebook pages, like who's doing all your graphic arts? Hire this guy. And his wife, the missus, has got the Cottontail Cottage where she rescues rabbits, which is really cool. Total Seal Piston Rings, of course, Marvin Rodak, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Let's see, final comments. Wishful thinking. I wonder what it is. Racing again, I hope. Lewis Turbo is out there watching on Twitch. Hello, Lewis. Thank you very much for watching on Twitch. WFO Radio, fantastic program. Don't feel bad, Wilkerson. We love you. You're a beloved character. What was really funny is me testing the deal with Tim. And he is like the dad in Christmas Story cursing at this clutch machine, going through his business. One more time, promo code WFO20 on nitrofishracing.com. And don't forget, Hidden Horsepower by Total Seal, Ed Pink, the old master. It's one you're going to have to listen to. It is amazing. Ed is great. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And WFO. We'll see you on Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time.